Hi friends in Artland, and welcome to the Seb Duke Show. The show where we talk about art marketing and mindset. My name is Seb Duke. I'm an artist and art marketing consultant. I'm here to help artists like you market your art to reach the right audience and enhance your mindset in order to become more productive and efficient in whatever tasks you tackle. Twice a week, I bring you inspiring and practical advice to help guide you on your path to artistic greatness. And I do this because I truly believe that all art deserves to be seen, starting with yours. Monday episodes are for mindset advice to start your week right. Friday episodes are for art marketing advice so you can start your weekend with fresh ideas to work on. As we're about to start episode 3 called Seek, Sense, Share, just a reminder, if you enjoy this show, please subscribe through your podcast app and rate it. This way you'll always be up to date and get the new episodes as they're released. Today, I'd like to address a concern that comes back so often during my one-on-one coaching sessions with artists, discussions that I have through DMs, and actually in comments on my posts at seb.duke. Captions. So many artists feel so intimidated by captions. They feel like they have nothing to say. And I guess in a sense that's normal, because art is the process of expressing what's happening inside of you through a physical visual medium. If you could say it with words, well then I guess you would. But you chose to become an artist so that you can take what's inside of you and transpose it onto a physical support. That's why when artists are told that they need to write captions to support their art, they freeze like a deer in headlights. They look at this blank section of their screen on Instagram, and while they're allowed up to 2,200 individual characters, they can't even think of a single letter to put in there. So many people will simply write the name of their piece, the dimensions, and just hope that the art itself will be enough to make people care for their art. It won't. Other artists will find a famous, inspiring quote and just add it under their post while adding nothing of value to it. Just the quote. So really people just don't put much thought into their captions. And then they wonder why they're not gaining much traction. So today, I want to give you a solid method that will allow you to come up with content ideas much easier. And this method is called Seek, Sense, Share. There's 3 steps. Seek, Sense, Share. Step 1 is Seek. Once you have defined the area or topic that you'd like to talk about, put together a list of the best sources of information. Then set aside time to scan those sources regularly as you seek for information. For instance, a source could be books if you want to talk about your specific art form. But it could also be blogs that talk about it. It could be YouTube channels that talk about it. So you want to seek out sources that will help you time and time again come up with content ideas on a regular basis. Seek out information through those sources. Now let's apply it to something different. If you want to share specific stories about your past, you could seek out stories by talking to your friends, to your family, who will have a wealth of stories about you that you might not automatically remember. So those will be your source of information that you can seek out regularly. Figure out what you want to talk about and seek out sources of information. So step 1, seek. Now comes step 2, sense. So after you have sought information, this is where you add the real value by creating meaning out of the material you've assembled. For instance, if you were seeking out stories and you talk to your mom and ask her, "Hey mom, what was I as a kid?" She tells you a story about how you would always doodle in class and your teacher would always bring that up in parent-teacher meetings. That's a story on its own, but it will only become interesting as a caption if you make sense of that story by giving it your personal meaning. So, how has that impacted you? How has that changed you? What's the lesson to be learned from that story? So that's step 2, where you make sense of the information that you sought in step 1. So you take the information and you give it meaning. And then finally comes the last step, share. Once you've collected the good stuff and you've organized it in a meaningful way where you've given it your perspective, you're ready to share it with your social network. And as you share it, you will help others see their own situations in a new light, and it'll probably reveal hidden problems that you can solve or that your art can solve. For instance, if you're looking for content ideas, you might decide to revisit your schooling from grade school to university if you went all the way up to university. And then you'll see if there's anything there worth sharing. So as you're seeking, you start from the beginning. Seek information, seek memories, seek stories. Can you find old report cards that could bring back some memories or stories? On your report cards, you're going to be reminded of what classes you took, what grades you took, who your teacher was. I promise you, you will come up with a lot of memories and stories. Do you have class pictures? Do you have yearbooks? If you scan through all of them and you seek out stories, you will probably remember so many things. Then afterwards, it's all about making sense of it. So you seek information, you make sense of it, because those experiences you lived a long time ago. Now you have a fresh perspective as an adult, so you can make sense of it in a different way that you made sense of it back then. So seek, sense, share. Now you could apply that same principle, seek, sense, share, to so many things. Your regrets, your mistakes. All you gotta do is identify what you want to talk about, seek targeted information on this topic, then afterward, make sense of it, then share it with the world. If your grandparent was a very wise person who liked to share nuggets of wisdom here and there, try to revisit what they taught you. Ask your parents, your aunts, your siblings, your cousins, if they have anything to share with you. That's a part of seeking information. And then afterwards, just fine comb through all that information and see if there's an angle for you to blend that nugget of information along with your art. Once you've made sense of it, you just organize it in the form of a caption, which you can then share with the world. Seek, sense, share. You'll see there's a lot of content ideas for captions within you. Let me reiterate, captions are extremely important. It's what allows people to get to know you better. It's what allows to create an emotional connection between who receives your art and your art. You are the catalyst. It's so much easier to purchase a piece of art from someone you feel like you know gets people involved with you in your quest. So embrace the seek, sense, share method. Remember those 3 words. Write them out on a post-it so you don't forget them. Then when you feel like you're out of ideas for captions, go out and seek, sense, share. If you need a refresher, you'll remember to come back to this episode and revisit it. Also, if you're at a loss for content ideas, check out my Instagram post planner at sebduke.com. It's a tool that I've designed that helps you plan your posts ahead of time so you can actually batch your work. But I've also integrated a lot of devices to get you thinking about content ideas. There's important dates, holidays, world days, in order to help spark ideas in your mind as you're scanning through it. I've also added important birthdays from famous artists so you can maybe talk about those artists and the impact that they had on your life. I've also added over 30 thought-starting questions that will help you come up with recurrent caption ideas, which should help you come up with content ideas for a month. Couple that with the seek, sense, share method, captions really shouldn't be as much of an issue anymore. So check it out at sebduke.com in the store section. Alright, that's what wraps it up for today's episode of the Seb Duke Show. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to tell your artist friends about it. And if this is your first time listening, don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss an episode, as well as rate and review this podcast on your podcast app. And if you want to get more free advice like what I share in this podcast, make sure you visit sebduke.com and subscribe to my newsletter. Once a week, I will send you practical marketing and mindset advice to help you in your journey to artistic greatness. Because I want to make sure that your art gets seen by as many people as possible. Alright, I'm signing off for today, but I hope you make today a great day. And I'll talk to you soon.